Hey everybody, and welcome to Kara's Reading Corner. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Wicked King by Holly Black. And I'm actually, before I get into this book, I'm going to do a quick little review of The Lost Sisters by Holly Black, which is book 1.5 in the series. It's between books 1 and 2. It is available on ebook. And here is the cover. It's pretty. It's a little novella, and I read it like in a couple hours. It's really not that long. So I'm just going to take a quick little side for that. So this is going to be spoilery for the first book. So if you have not read the first book, please do not watch this video if you do not want the spoilers for the first book. Okay. That's my, yep, okay. So, for The Lost Sisters, I have my little review written here. So, I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was interesting. It's from the perspective of Taryn, who is Jude's twin sister. And it's like her apology to Jude for everything that she did in book 1. I'm just going to preface in book 1, Taryn is in love with a fairy named Locke. Locke wants to test Taryn's love by saying, I'll marry you if you will put up with my BS, essentially, for X amount of time, and you can't say anything about it. And he basically proceeds then to court her sister Jude. So Taryn's just like, I love you, I want to be with you. And Locke's like, yeah, me too, but quick, I want to get with your sister. That's cool, right? Right? You're cool with that? Well, even if you're not, you can't say anything because then I really won't marry you. That's cool. Okay, so quick little recap of what happens in book 1. Really like betrays Jude. Like Taryn can't say anything to Jude, and then Locke's just like an asshole. Like, I'm sorry for the language, but he's a bit giant douchebag. He's so manipulative, and he just is in it for himself. All right, it's my lovely little opinion about that. So in The Lost Sisters, we get Taryn's perspective. She uses like all these excuses for what she did in book 1, and that's literally all it is. It's just excuses, and they're not even that great. It's literally just like, well, I was in love. You do crazy things when you're in love. No, okay? Maybe I'm fairy where people are like messed up, but really, like, you're gonna be with this guy who's unfaithful. Really, that's what you want. Okay, that's cool. And one of the things that I actually really did like about The Lost Sisters is Taryn is not as feisty as Jude at all. Like in book 1, she's very like, don't rock the boat, don't piss off the fairies, just like, she's a very survivalist. She's like, I will survive this. We're going to get through this, and then things are going to get better. And she's kind of an optimist, honestly. She's like, no, if I just do this thing the right way and I don't piss people off, then things will be better. But you're a fairy and people are messed up and things do not get better, which Jude has realized. So Jude is like, you're going to play with me anyways. I might as well like do what I want. So Jude's over here like, yeah, I'm gonna piss people off. Like, I'm gonna stand up for myself. And anyways, so in The Lost Sisters, you get like these flashes where Taryn is like almost feisty. She's like, oh, I didn't even mark it in my ebook, which I kind of wish I had, but I just remember there's like this one part where Locke was being like a giant jerk, and she was like, oh, really, that's what you're gonna do? But then she doesn't even say anything to him. She's just like, no, it's fine, he really loves me, he just wants me to prove my love for him. No. No. Okay, no. Don't got time for that. Don't got time for that. Anyways, that's my review of The Lost Sisters, and now we're gonna move into The Wicked King, which just came out on January 8th, 2019. It's been like 2 weeks. Okay, a little bit longer than 2 weeks because I fail at reviewing and reading and whatever. So, this is the beautiful cover, and I just want to show you the naked cover because I swear these books are gorgeous and I just can't get over it. Look at it, it's so pretty. It's so pretty and shiny. So, yeah. So I'm just gonna, it's kind of like a green sheen to it, where the first book, let me get that for you, is like, it's gold. So gold, although my computer's like weird, I don't know. Gold, green, so you can kind of see it. So, spoilers for book 1 will be in this video, even more so than I've already said. So again, warning, if you do not want spoilers for the first book, do not watch this video. Alright, we're just gonna get into it. So the end of the first book, Oak, who is not even really related to Taryn and Jude, but they grew up believing that he was. But he's basically adopted, and you find out in the end of book 1 that he is a bastard child of the High King. Which, I mean, I think all of their children are bastards. Like, he doesn't really actually marry anyone. Anyways, I'm sidetracking. Oak is a child of the High King of Fairy, which you find out in book 1, in order to pass the crown, it doesn't go from like king to firstborn to firstborn. The king chooses one of his offsprings to become the next king or queen of Fairy. So he has like 6 kids or something like that, that they think, or that everybody knows is one of the children of the High King of Fairy. So Baelkin, which I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's how I say his name in my head, does a coup to take the throne from Prince Dane, who the High King of Fairy does choose to be the next ruler of Fairy. So the High King is stepping down. He's going to choose one of his children. He chooses Dane. Dane goes through like the whole ceremony of like putting markings on, and like all of the fairies have gathered from all over Fairy, and they're coming to accept him as their king. So Dane is like going through the whole ceremony. People are coming up and like accepting him. And then then you find out that the way the crown was made for Fairy, that if you do not have a blood relation put it on you, you will like die or something. It's not really clear. It's just that it's very painful. So Baelkin, like Dane, right as he's about to get crowned, Baelkin's like, F you, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna be a better ruler. And he takes the crown and like tries to get one of his siblings to crown him, and they're basically like, nah, we're not doing that. So then he kills them. He just kills all his siblings. He kills the High King. He kills all of his siblings until there's only one sibling left, Cardan. And he's like, oh crap, I can't kill everybody because somebody has to crown me. And Cardan's like gone. He wasn't even on the stage with all of the siblings. He was like in the party. So Cardan's like, I'm out. And Baelkin's just like, oh shoot, I need him. So then there's like a massive hunt for Cardan. Jude gets Cardan. Intrigue and plot twists. Oak, we find out, is actually a child of the High King. And so then Oak becomes, they like get Oak on stage with Cardan and Baelkin after like a week. I mean, this is like a week in fairy time or something. And so they get Oak on stage, Oak crowns Cardan. So now Cardan is the new High King of Fairy. And that's where we start with this book, okay? Also, one thing to let you know, Jude has Cardan basically under her control for 1 year and 1 day at the end of the first book. So we start this book, this bad boy, 5 months, I think it is. Let me just double check. Yes, I think so. It just says, so this is a little synopsis for the Wicked King. Jude has bound the Wicked King Cardan to her and made herself the power behind the throne. Navigating the constantly shifting political alliances of Fairy would be difficult even if Cardan were biddable. But he does everything in his power to humiliate and undermine her, even as his fascination with her remains undiminished. I'm gonna just pause right there. I don't like Cardan and her together. They have a weird relationship and it's really like almost abusive. But let's just continue. When it all becomes too clear that someone close to Jude means to betray her, threatening her life and the lives of everyone she loves, Jude must uncover the traitor and fight for her own complicated feelings for Cardan to maintain control as a mortal in a fairy world. Alright, I'm gonna just be clear right now. There are gonna be spoilers in this first book. I will let you know when those spoilers are coming. I think I'm going to do an unspoilery section first, and then we're going to get into the spoilery section. So, unspoilery section first. What do I even want to say? So this book starts out 5 months after the first book ends. Jude is basically ruling the kingdom as Cardan doesn't care. He's just kind of there, and he does whatever he wants. A lot of this first book, or a lot of the first part of the second book, I found incredibly boring. I rated this book 4 stars because of that. The first part of this book is literally just like politics and scheming, which when you throw it in with like some action and like actual plot development or like something happening, I don't mind. Like, I like it, like, when schemes are happening, and I like the political stuff. But literally, it's just, like, all set up for the second half of the book. Like, there's no action. Nothing happens. Like, it's just like, oh, we find out this? Okay, cool. We find out this? Okay, cool. Well, we should probably investigate that. Let's make a deal with them. Yeah, now we're just gonna sit here and we're gonna go to this revel and I'm gonna be humiliated. That's cool. Let's see what else happened. I mean, that's literally it. Like, so boring. I hate it. I kept like just hit my computer. Anyways, I kept like stopping reading the first half of this book because I found it to be just so incredibly boring. Like, I kept getting distracted. I kept like just putting it down because I wasn't intrigued. Like, I thought it was so boring. And so it was enough that I took off a star. I don't really like DFN books, do not finish books. So I'll push through. And I am glad I pushed through because the second half of this book was just as good as the first book. So many plot twists, and it was very intriguing the way like everything that you learn in the first part of the book does come into play in the second book, or the second part of the book, but it just took so long for it to get there. Like, I was so bored. I did not have my first tab in this book until page 148. 150 pages in, and I was not intrigued at all. Like, out of a 300-page book, I think, 326-page book, and it's like 150 pages in until I'm very finally like, oh, that's kind of interesting. No. So yeah, that bothered me a lot. That's really my biggest complaint about this book. Also, I'm gonna be honest here. Jude kind of annoyed me. Like, calm down, honey. Like, I understand you're kind of ruling the kingdom and you don't trust anybody, but I found her to be very annoying, honestly, especially in the first half of the book. Even the second half, like the whole time, she was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. I have to do everything. I can't trust Cardan to do anything. I can't trust anybody to do anything. Really? Then why are you even here? And then, like, the whole time she's talking, she's just like, I can't give up this power. I'm addicted to power now. Like, I just can't deal with it. Okay, cool. You're power hungry and you're just as bad as the Fae. That's what I got out of that. Cardan actually intrigued me more in this book. He actually had a little bit more like character development, I felt like, besides just being like this giant jerk to everybody around him. You find out more of his backstory. I am going to say that I still don't really love him and Jude together. I got there a little bit more in this book, but I just have such a hard time when abuse is romanticized, and Cardan is very abusive. He's a big jerk. Also in this book, Taryn, Jude's sister, is gonna get married to Locke, which, as I just talked about, I don't really feel like that's the best decision for anybody, really. I mean, Locke is a massive jerk bucket, and yeah, why are we allowing Taryn to get married to him? That's cool. One part I did like in this book, Jude goes and basically threatens Locke with his life. She's like, yeah, no, you need to be faithful to my sister and you need to like step it up. All right, that's pretty much all I have to say that's non-spoilery. Yeah, we're gonna get into spoilers now, so thank you so much. If you do not want to see spoilers or hear spoilers, please, I'll see you next time. If you want to know all the spoilery things, stay with me and we will continue. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna just get into it real quick here. I've got my tabs on my book and I'm just gonna go through some of them. The first tab, like I said, was on page 146, not 148. Still, almost 150 pages in. And it's where Jude and Cardan have this heavy, heavy makeout session. And then they basically just, like, strip down. And I'm just like, the whole time, though, they're like, I hate you more, I hate you more, I hate you more, but let's make out. Yeah, I want to see you, yeah. And then they like, yeah, like he takes off his shirt, she takes off her shirt. I'm just like, what are we even doing? Then I'm like, is this gonna progress into like a sexual nature? No. Or I don't really know. It doesn't really clarify. I really have no idea. No idea whatsoever. And this is just one sentence that I thought was ridiculous, but I hate the way I cling to him. So she's like listing all these things. Like, I hate that he knows what he's doing and I don't. I hate being vulnerable. I hate that I throw my head back, burying my throat. Blah, 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 blah. This goes on for like a whole paragraph. And then she says, my thoughts splintering, and the last single thought in my head that I like him better than I've ever liked anyone, and that all of the things he's ever done to me, making him like me so much, is by far the worst. How did he make you like him so much? By like abusing you and being a jerk? How is that making him like you? Or you like him? Like, I don't understand. That is not a healthy relationship, honey. And like, all of you young adults that are reading this book and don't know what a good relationship is, this is not it, okay? Just need to put that out there because no, okay? All these, like, young adults, like, when I read books like this, I had no idea when I was younger. I was like, yeah, that's a perfectly normal relationship, Yeah, I can, no, is not. All right, moving on, that's just my little beef. The next part is when she's going to threaten Locke, like I mentioned earlier, and I just love it because, he says to her, like, because you'd murder me. And she says, if you're playing with Taryn, Maddox will murder you. I won't even get a chance. And then he says, "Your ridiculous family might be surprised to find that not everything is solved by murder." And she's like, we would be surprised by that. I just thought it was funny because Maddox is the general of the army and he solves everything by murder. And like Jude, that's how Jude solves her problems. She just murder faces everyone. So, that's cool. Okay, next we get a little bit more plot intrigue. Baelkin is in jail from the first book from murdering every royal family member except Cardan. So there's that. He's in jail. And you find out that he's been meeting with the sea people who are ruled by the undersea Queen Orla. And he's been requesting an audience, so they finally give one to him with Cardan. And let's see, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. I don't think I actually really had anything to talk about other than the fact that he's actually meeting with Cardan. I thought it was interesting that they would actually, let him meet with them. But yeah, let's see. Then, the next most interesting part, which is on page 190, where I thought it might actually pick up. Even before, I thought, oh, yeah, that's kind of interesting. But here, we actually have, it's the night before Taryn's wedding. Jude is going to Maddox's house because Taryn wants everyone together before her wedding, kind of like a bachelorette party in some vague sense. So she's walking. She's not even, writing anything. I don't think. I think she's literally just walking to Maddox's house. Yeah. Yeah. She just, does nothing. Oh, no, it does say it. Then I ride to Maddox's estate. So she is on some sort of animal to ride. And she hears, hoofbeats in the distance, but she doesn't think about it. Anything about it. And then basically seven people on horseback come up and start attacking her. They're shooting arrows at her. And so she is trying to figure out a way to get around them. They scuffle in the forest. She gets shot in the leg. She does manage to outsmart them and get away. And before I go into this, let's just mention the fact that before this, I forgot to mention, Jude has had someone tell her that someone close to her is going to betray her. And so, the whole book, she's trying to figure out who's going to betray her. She's like, oh, is it Taryn? Oh, is it Maddox? Oh, is it this person or this person or this person? So we've also got that. So she's dealing with that, trying to figure out who betrayed her. And then, I did mark this part because I thought it was cute. Taryn comes down in her wedding dress. And I just got married a year ago, so I like hearing descriptions of wedding dresses. I don't really hear them that often, honestly, because not a lot of YA fantasy you get a wedding in. Yeah. So, she's bathed in lilac dew and wears a gown of incredibly fine layers of cloth on top of one another. Herbs and flowers trap between them to give the impression that she's this beautiful floating figure and a living bouquet at the same time. How cool is that? That's the coolest description of a dress I've ever heard. Yes, queen, yes. I loved it. Okay, next tab. They finally find out something is happening at the Tower of Forgetting, which is the jail that Baelkin is at. And so it's at the end of Taryn's wedding. And so Jude's like, oh, I need to say goodbye to Taryn before we leave. And then she looks over and everyone's around her. And she's like, oh, well, this is more important. We'll just go. So she leaves. And then we finally find out on page 216 who the actual betrayer is. And again, if you do not want spoilers, because this is really spoilery, Okay, it's a ghost. So yeah, one of the members of the Court of Shadows with her since book one is the betrayer, and he says, I served Prince Dane, not you. So I'm gonna turn you over to the Sea Queen and peace. We don't even know why. Like, did he get money? I don't know. So yeah, Jude is now captured by the Sea Queen, and a whole bunch of stuff happens. I'm not even gonna go into it. Like, I thought it was really intriguing, but at the same time, I don't really want to talk about it that much. And then we're gonna skip ahead to the end. Page 286, it says, there's like all, oh, I guess I can't really skip over where she's been in jail. So she's in jail, or she's been captured by the undersea, and all this stuff happens. Finally, they, after like a month, get her back. They've bantered enough, and they've come to an agreement with Cardan and the Sea Queen Orla. And part of the agreement is Belkin is the, oh, what is it called? Oh, the ambassador. So Belkin is now the ambassador to the undersea, and they all glamour Jude to make her like think that they're her best friend. And for a minute, I legit thought that, like, even though she has the boon from Dane that allows her not to be compelled, I really thought it would have stopped working for a part, because she actually, like, in her head, she's like, no, I'm not compelled. But then, like, when she gets out of the jail and when she, like, gets traded, it's actually like, oh no, she like does all this stuff that they compelled her to do. So I was like, are you actually compelled or are you not? I was really confused there. And then, yeah, there's like a whole bunch that actually goes down. I don't know how spoilery are we gonna get here. Maddox has like managed to get out from under Cardan's thumb. He is now like off on his own, and they have to choose a new general. They don't do that in this book. I'm assuming that's going to happen in book 3. But he basically like takes the whole army with him, so all of the land creatures are defenseless, which is really unfortunate, because the sea like wants to war with the land. Then, okay, very end of the book, Holly Black has to like come in with this whole cliffhanger plot twist, and I just have to talk about it because no one else to talk about it with. So here we go. Page 304, Cardan and Jude are talking, and he says like he wants her to let go of the compulsion, like he wants to be able to make his own decisions. And she's like, no, I can't do that. Like, I need you under my control, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, but what if you marry me? Marry me and become the queen of Elfhame, or like the queen of Fairy. And you won't have to control me because you can make your own orders. And she's like, okay. Okay. And then he's like, we don't even have to wait. We can get married right now, because in Taryn's wedding, like they had a big party, like the reception in the mortal world, but nobody actually saw the ceremony happen, and so like it's kind of a more sacred thing to do by just between two people. And so he's like, no, we don't need to have any witnesses. We'll just get married right now and it will be good. And I actually really did like, so she says yes. They get married, and let's see. So he says, if you agree, I will marry you tonight, right now, right here. We exchange vows and it is done. This is no mortal marriage to require being presided over and witnessed. I cannot lie. I cannot deny you. And then she says, blah, blah, blah. She thinks about it. And then she's like, yes. And then, blah, blah, blah. So then he says, it's simple. We pledge our truth, I'm assuming, something like that. I'll go first unless you wish to wait. Perhaps you imagine something more romantic. No, I said quickly, unwilling to admit that to imagining anything to do with marriage at all. And then he says, I, Cardan, son of Eldred, High King of Elfham, take you, Jude Dart, mortal ward of Madoc, to be my bride and my queen. Let us be wed until we wish for it to be otherwise, and the crown has passed from our hands. And then, let's see, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the whole reason I'm going over this is because I feel like in, when Cardan becomes the king, they talk about it pretty, like a couple times, how he's connected to the land now and the land responds to him, and like not in a long time have they seen the land respond to a king so strongly. So he has a really strong connection to the land. And then he says, so then after he makes his vows, it says, above us, the branches begin to bud as though the land itself heard the words he spoke. Okay, that was actually pretty cute. Like, I don't really like their relationship at all, but that was pretty cute. Okay, so then, she does her vows, and then above us, the buds are blooming. The whole room smells like flowers, which I just thought was so cute. And then they, like, go to bed and they don't, like, consummate the marriage. They just, like, kiss for a little while. Then they go to meet the queen of the Undersea because she's there and, like, demanding things. And then, so Jude killed Belkin. I'm not gonna really go into it because whatever, but she kills him in a fight because he, like, challenges her to a duel, essentially, and so she kills him. And then, so then the queen of the Undersea is back, and she's like, I demand, justice for my ambassador. And then he says, Cardan and her debate. He shows his power and connection to the land by, like, rising a island out of the sea, and he starts, like, boiling the water because there's lava under the water, and he's like, you're trying to control me? Well, I control the land, and the land obeys me, and you may be queen of the sea, but what's under the sea? Land. I control that. Boil. And, like, all of the water starts boiling. It was pretty, like, an intense, like, power display, which was pretty cool. I will give Cardan that. I did like that. But yeah, and then he says, and then, so then he turns to Jude and he says, and today I will dispense justice. Jude, do you deny you murdered Prince Belkin, ambassador of the Undersea and brother to the High King? And she's like, I'm not sure what he wants me to say. Would it help to deny it? If so, surely he would not put it to me in such a way that makes it clear he believes I did kill Belkin. Cardan has had a plan all along. All I can do is trust that he has a plan now. First mistake. I do not deny that we had a duel and that I won, I say, my voice coming out more uncertain than I'd like. All the eyes of the folk are on me, and for a moment, as I look out on their pitiless faces, I feel Madoc's absence keenly. Hear my judgment, Cardan says. I exile Jude Dart to the mortal world until and unless she's pardoned by the crown. Let her not set one foot into Fairy or forfeit her life. Then she's like, oh, you can't do that. He looks at me for a long moment, but his gaze is mild, as though he's expecting me to be fine with exile, as though I am nothing more than one of his petitioners, as though I am nothing at all. Of course I can, he replies, and she says, but I'm the Queen of Fairy. And then everybody just starts laughing, because nobody witnessed the marriage. Nobody has any idea. It was literally 1 day ago. And then she says, deny it. Deny me. He cannot, of course, so he does not. Our eyes meet, and the odd smile on his face is clearly meant for me. I remember what it is like to hate him with my whole heart, but I've remembered too late. Really? You've remembered too late. Okay, because his abusive jerk face, that's cool. Okay. Fine. So then, that's basically the end of the book. That's where it stops, and then we have an epilogue, and it's Jude sitting in the mortal world with Vivi, and they're, like, trying to plan what they're gonna do. That's the end of the book. I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready for the third one, but Jude really needs to get her ish together, and if she really wants to be with Cardan, then Cardan needs to figure out his ish, and he needs to be better. I really feel like he won't be able to deny her queen, but the way that he phrased her exile-ish, whatever, it says, I exile Jude to the mortal world until and unless she is pardoned by the crown. You are the crown. Just pardon her. Like, I feel like it's gonna have to be, like, an appropriate amount of time so the Undersea doesn't, like, come back and kill everyone. But really, like, I feel like a year and Cardan can, like, pardon her and it'll be fine. Like, she's the queen. They did get married. And it said that, like, fairies, the High King does not really get married. So, I'm interested to see how that's going to have an effect on Fairy. Yeah. Anyways, this is my super long, spoilery discussion review of The Wicked King. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and like it, and I will see you guys later. Bye!